peace, prosperity, and love, beautiful people. Welcome to Gracefully Imperfect, a podcast for the Black and African diaspora in material of socioeconomics, politics, religion, and so forth. The centrality of this podcast is immersive empathy, introspection, deep thought, soul-serving conversation and communication, all in the light of unlocking the keys to vulnerability and transformation. During our time together, we will engage in topics related to mental and spiritual health experiences, the intersectionality of mental health and creativity, identity and culture, and any and all things related to healing from trauma, gathering insights, cultivating a deep sense of knowing, and repairing soul wounds. In the essence of communal love and collective consciousness, let us open our minds, lighten our hearts, settle our spirit, access soul intelligence, and affirm the richness of our humanity.
Peace, love, and blessings in abundance to all of you. It is Brother KD, and I am so grateful to be back here on Gracefully Imperfect, where we are unlocking the keys to transformation and vulnerability, one conversation at a time. I want to check in with all of you and ask, how is your spirit over this last week? With the geopolitical context, the crisis of the geopolitical context getting more and more extreme, getting more and more destructive, dangerous, ridden with death and genocide. I just want to check in because I know that pain and suffering on one side of the globe is not isolated to that one side of the globe. So how is your spirit? And what can you do if your spirit is restricted, if it's dark, if it's sluggish, if it's tired, if it's exhausted, if it's angry? What can you do to be more present with it? Confront and address what it is that's creating the distress. I will tell you that my spirit lately has been confused, disgruntled. I have been extremely frustrated. And what I've been doing is really being very intentional about looking at and facing the sources that are creating this dispiritedness. And I do that through meditation, still contemplation, and running. Running has become my primary therapeutic vehicle. Don't matter what kind of run it is, a sprint, an endurance run, a tempo run, doesn't matter. I have found so much comfort and so much cathartic effect from running. I can get into that another time. But I want to really just center you all. So go and please. That doesn't mean to stop feeling what you're feeling. Don't compartmentalize it. Don't suppress it. Face it. And face it in a way where you can actually allow it to pass through. So maybe sitting in a room with the candle lit, with lights off, is not it. Maybe it is taking a walk in your favorite park, walk in your neighborhood. Maybe it is just getting into your car, turning on your favorite tunes, putting the windows up, putting on the AC because it's hot, and just singing and screaming. Maybe it is just dancing, swimming, walking along the beach shoreline, anywhere where you can get the utmost clarity. Not all the answers, clearness and clarity. I want you to know that it's not your physical body. It's not just a physical body, that it is also a harnesser of energy. And so use your consciousness to work through, process, value, understand that energy. All right. Right on. Um, Again, it's an honor to be here. And I also want to highlight that eventually some of the content will become paid for paid subscribers. Now, until then, everything is still free. So please enjoy. Please enjoy. I really would like to keep this free. And so I ask in the spirit of uh, Umoja, unity, and Ujama to really share this work. Subscribe to it, write reviews on it on Apple, on Spotify. Um, Connect with me on LinkedIn. Send emails to the DM. Send emails to the email that's on the notes. The more interaction, the more immersive activity, the more that it can see that this is actually touching and impacting and creating value in other people's lives. I'm able to modify and adjust as appropriately. So let me know. Please show your love to Gracefully Imperfect, the podcast for liberation, healing, transformation, and vulnerability. Last episode, so much things to say, part 2. And essentially, I had a lot of things to say. And I really hope that you check that out. And if you have not, I will add that in the show notes as well. So please go watch part 1 and part 2. So much things to say. Today, I want to take a different. I want to take a different approach because I've been using this term for a while now. Liberation social work, and I don't think that I have concisely um, really delved or expounded upon what it is and how it came to be. And so I wanted to take this time with you all to really illuminate the origins of liberation social work, because that is the perspective, the framework, the lens that I, through which I study, through I research, that I practice, that I conceptualize, that I analyze, that I evaluate. That is my particular way of doing the healing work of humanity. And so I think it's very important that I need to really create some understanding and awareness about this. So you too, if this fits and resonates, you too could also become more oriented to liberation social work. And it all starts when I was in the social work program and learning about social work theory, social work um, uh, frameworks, social work perspectives, social work concepts, etc. I was completely unsatisfied. Really, I was. Social work as an applied science, I mean, it is a practice-based science. Is that it? What it does is that it does a lot of bringing together and connecting the dots and aligning context with other knowledge systems in order to support the social justice and therapeutic care, advocacy, etc., of other people. Social work, in respect to the education, does not offer the space, opportunity, or the intellectual and cultural capacity for you to develop your own way of knowing, your own way of seeing and viewing nature and humanity through your particular cultural orientation and lens. And because it didn't do that, and here I am, deeply encouraged to pull from all these other people who've created these frameworks and these theories and these therapeutic modalities. I was A, unimpressed. B, I was deeply demotivated. And three, I had a hunger for more creative control. Around this time, um, I was doing a bunch of research, um, reading, studying of African psychology, of African centeredness, of African centered consciousness. And those those concepts really highlighted the creative ingenuity of Black African scholars. And that's how I wanted to emulate the practice of doing the whole social work thing by being self-determining in how I approach, in how I express, and how I value social work. In essence, I did not want to do social work the traditional mainstream way that is constantly that's constantly in demand through various marketplaces, whether that is through the school system, healthcare, um, mental health care, and social services, etc. And so liberation, I really grabbed onto that while I was reading Dr. Wade Nobles, Dr. Naeem Akbar, Dr. Amos Wilson, um, Dr. Marimba Ani. Oh my goodness, it's just so many that I really, I really was inspired by because they all speak about the survival thrust of African people. And the survival thrust of African people is not merely just to survive, but it's also to flourish, to thrive, to be fuller humans to revolutionize thought, culture, creation. That's the survival thrust. That is the essence of peoplehood, of human beingness. And so when I started picking up on these different fundamental ideas from those scholars that I named, plus more, I began to start looking at social work very critical, from a very critical lens and saying, okay, what if I am dissatisfied and unhappy about the current modes and modalities of social work? How can I be of service and create something that is more affirming, that is in respect to dignity and humanity, and really is truly a revolutionary, um and supports a revolutionary process. Didn't know what to do, but I kept asking questions and I kept reading and I kept researching. I really did. I came across, I came across um, a bunch of I came across some particular healing modalities. One into created by Dr. Frederick Phillips, and the other um, optimal conceptual theory or optimal conceptual psychology, Dr. Linda Myers. Into is extremely spiritual. It centers the spirituality and the spiritual essence of peoplehood. And its core tenets is harmony, balance, order, etc. To what end, right? Well, into aims or believes that health and wellness is an integrative concept. It is a holistic concept. It is about being able to fine tune, of first off, identify the disharmony in in all systems of life, all contexts of life, relationships, work, neighborhood, community, internal, intra-group, intergroup, etc. And it's to really, really, really understand and live by the notions that a human is a spirit in physical form. On Right? So it changes how you interact and changes your relational dynamics. And it also changes your perception of self and of people and of nature. Because then you start looking at yourself as a spirit, meaning that you are guided by divine powers and divine energy that is unseen, that's immaterial, that's ethereal, and that we all possess some capability and some degree of mastery of being able to connect our spiritual energies with other people and vice versa. And I'm like, wow, that's liberating. Optimal conceptual theory really focuses on the identification, the understanding, and the reconstruction of a worldview system, an optimal worldview system. And a worldview system is, according to the theory, is that it is the basis. It is the basis for human interaction, engagement, and activity. It is your conceptual, it is your conceptual universe that helps you uh, regulate, direct, and guide consciousness and behavior. So the more that your worldview is optimal, meaning that it is completely, that it's healthy, that it's more natural, that it's not infringed upon um, by any other people or any other group of people, that it's rooted in culture and tradition and ancestral knowledge and wisdom. It's not somebody else's. It comes from you and yours. So that in itself becomes a liberating process, a liberating act, a political liberating process of getting your worldview system refined, restructured, and reconstituted back to your ancestral self, to your ancestral people. And so all of that, took all of that. And I said, okay, I'm going to start just writing about liberation social work. And one of the first things that I wrote about was just, I gave not an operational definition, but I just gave a conceptual look at liberation. And I said that liberation is the process of purging and untethering the soul, freeing from alien consciousness and the power bases that stagnate and delimit the illumination of the soul and the expansiveness of social and cultural consciousness. Its means and aims are predicated on a human life enhancing paradigm supported by dignity affirming values and informed and expressed by particular cultural orientations. And that first line, it is the process of purging and untethering the soul, freeing from alien consciousness. A lot of what social work does is help people move through systems of injustices, systems of inequity, of disparity, of unfair treatment. The social worker is there to be a buffer, a mediator, a navigator, a guide, an advocate. And even though that them being in those spaces and places are very much crucial and needed, what is not happening is helping that person and their systems of continuity, the people that are part of their community and family support system, is not being a part of an active and engaging process to understand what are their conceptual and ideological foundations. Because you're not going to understand behavior, personality, any of that if you don't understand how the consciousness is being informed and inspired. And so it becomes this practical approach of solving problems that reflect the current circumstance and conditions of a people. Need a job, at risk of becoming homeless or houseless, don't have medical insurance, need medical care for various maladies and ailments, emotionally and psychologically disturbed and distressed. Academic challenges, right? Challenges with being a refugee, an immigrant, political asylum seeker, etc. Policy, laws, and legislation. These are the various things that various uh, ways that social work shows up, but does not show up in a way where we are helping people become more more uh, more naturally aligned with a consciousness that will give them total control, total healthy control over their actions and their behaviors, their personality, and their cultural expressions. It is the process of purging and untethering the soul. Your soul is with you. It is divine, it's ethereal, it's infinite. Your soul should not only be worshiped and praised and honored upon physical death. And the more that we realize that liberation is more than just in a physical freedom, I can do what I want, when I want, how I want, and with whom I want to. It is more than that. We have been living under tyranny and terror, degradation, subjugation for over 400 years here in the Americas. Your consciousness has been influenced and manipulated, exploited, and imposed upon by Euro-American power structures. You may feel liberated. The context of your life might show that there is freedom of maneuver and movement, and that you have a you have degrees, various degrees of privilege and power. But I always like to look at what is inspiring, informing, and guiding your actions, your behavior, your expressions, your communications, and what are the contents to your conceptual and ideological universe, and what is the source of it. So liberation starts there. Ideological and conceptual freedom in a nutshell. I want to leave you all with another thing that just really resonates with my spirit and soul and illuminates the vital importance of family wellness and family health. Liberation means nothing for the individual if the family, the community, the culture is not also going through a process of liberation. Because the existence of life is not individual existence, it's peoplehood, it's human beingness, it is community based. And this right here from this stellar scholar will kind of illuminate more what I'm saying. And this is by Wade Nobles. I read this book like 3 weeks ago. It's phenomenal. The family, which includes the living, the dead, and those yet to be born, is the center. The family or peoplehood is the center of existence. For African people, our peoplehood thusly becomes the source of our human definition. That is our life force here on the physical plane. And yes, we all come from family systems disrupted, dysregulated, disorganized by the global system of white supremacy, white racism, etc. That's where we need to start. It may not be your blood. Maybe your blood relatives, your blood family are completely toxic, traumatogenic, and it's very chaotic being in and around them. Maybe it is your other chosen family, who are not blood related that this is referring to. All right. The family is not just your blood relatives. It's also your kin network. All right. It's also your surrogate family. African families has always been more than just mommy, daddy, children, grandma, grandpa. It's always been more than that. So the fundamental basis of our liberation is rooted in the family wellness and the family health, the family relational dynamics. Your individual liberation flows from that. And it also informs and inspires it. I want to continue this origins of liberation social work. I can't wait for us to jump back into it. This is Brother KD, and this is Gracefully Imperfect, where we unlock the keys to transformation and vulnerability, one conversation at a time. I hope you feel lighter. I hope you feel seen. Hope you feel understood and valued. And I truly, truly hope that through these times that you are becoming more and more aligned and integrated with your spirit and with your consciousness. Peace, love, the revolutionary kind, and blessings. Talk to you all soon.